Hello everyone, welcome back to Design and UX channel. I am Priya. I am a UX design student. As a UX design student, I know how much important for us to preparing for any job interviews to land our dream job. So today in this video, I am going to talk about design challenge framework for UX design interview preparation. So let's get started. There are three different categories of design challenges for interviews: whiteboard design challenge, on-site design challenge, and take-home exercise. We are UX designers. Our job is to understand design problems and solve them. Since in the interview process, we have to solve a design problem, don't jump into the final solution. While solving design challenges, we have to think aloud and collaborate with the interviewer with how we are thinking on solving a problem. What are the design decisions that we are taking and why? Also, listen to the interviewer carefully while they are asking something to you about the design problem. Because using these design challenges, the interviewer team knows about critical thinking skills, design process, and our ability to solve a problem. Why do we have a framework? So let's know about the framework. So when we are interviewing with a group of teams, they ask about solving a design problem. Since we started to solve our design challenge, we have been collaborating with a group of members and making design decisions. But sometimes we don't know much about a design challenge, or we might be working on a new thing that we ever know before our interview. So if we have a framework, we can solve design problems as per framework, and this framework helps us to solve a design problem. As per my understanding on design challenge means we are going to solve any design challenge or design problem when we are working on our case study projects. We are spending a lot of time to work on each and every step of the design case study, and once we are done with our design case study, we explain to others. In a similar way, in the design challenge, we are going to solve a design challenge in a shorter time period, as well as collaborate with a group of interviewers and making the design decisions. Also explain why we are making that decisions, what is the reason behind to making design decisions. Let's jump into the design framework. The design framework starts with the problem statement, because in the interview process, interviewers give us the design problem or problem statement, and during the interview we are going to solve it. First, know about the design problem. In the design challenge, we have to understand what is the problem statement that we are going to solve and understand the goals. If we understand our design problem, then only we can succeed in design challenge. So in this area, we have to highlight the problem statement. Second, understand our users. Understand our primary or secondary target users. Our target users are the main important thing in solving our design problem. With the target users, we can understand what are their pain points and what are their goals while they are using the product. We have to consider the demographics and psychographics of target users. Then only we can understand which category of people might be interested in the particular product. For example, TikTok is a teen group of people, since this application might be voting for older age peoples. So in this point of view, we have to highlight our target users, their pain points, their goals, interest, and what are the major purposes that they are using our product, and how they are feeling about our product. Once we understand our target users, then it's time to know about when and where they are going to use our product, and also how they feel about the product. For example, if the user is manually operating their work status on a paper or notebook, since they have to keep a notebook every time with them and note down status every time. So sometimes it might be frustrated for them to keep a record of work status. since if the user has an application that tracks their everyday work status and is handy for them to use and carry it whenever or wherever they want to, then the user may feel happy with the product. Next, list our major ideas or focus areas. Now we have a clear understanding of problem statement and goals, as well as our target users and their constraints and their goals about the product. Also, when and why they are using our product, what are their feelings, and what are the motivation behind using our product. So in this area, we have to highlight list of ideas on a whiteboard. Then choose focus ideas and explain why you choose these. These are the major considerations. Once we have listed our design ideas on a paper, then we have to understand and list our focus areas on the design problem and explain why we are choosing these ideas as our major ideas. So, in this point of view, we have to highlight focus ideas and explain why they are major problems or major focusing points for our problem. Then once we have a problem statement, we have a user goals, we have a user pain points and user constraints, and then it's time to also we have a main focus areas about our problems, our user problems. Now it's time to solve our user problem. Solving a problem is based on your problem statement, but as per the focus areas, I prefer to solve problems using Storyboard. Because of Storyboard, we can understand successful completion of user tasks by users on our product, as well as we have a clear understanding on our target user personas. Once we created a storyboard, now we can jump into the creating low fidelity prototypes, where we have to create major tasks of our product, and we have to explain the user flows of the low fidelity prototypes. Also, we have to explain about why we are taking decisions on the product flow and how the user is going to accomplish desired tasks using the low fidelity prototypes. This is how we solve our design challenge. Finally, make sure to summarize your problem solving process from start to end point. So now let's know about little bit about take home exercise. In this section, the hiring people want to know about our ability on creating a high fidelity prototypes and choosing the UI and visual design. Today in this video, I am going to share one of example on whiteboard design challenge. So let's jump into the whiteboard design challenge. Design challenge. Create a digital clock for the users, easy to use and carry. Reminder, in this interview process, the interviewer gives us a design challenge. So our design challenge is to create a clock for the users to easy to use and easy to handy for them, and as well as easy to carry. Now I have a clear idea on my design challenge that I am going to solve. Once I got a clear idea on the design challenge, then we have to understand our target users. When we are working on any design project, we have to understand the target users and target needs in a similar way. When we are solving any whiteboard design challenge or any design challenge, we have noted down all the useful points related to the target users and their needs and their goals. Like when they are going to use our product, where they are going to use our product, also demographics and psychographics for the target users. Let's understand our target users for digital clock. Target users, all a group of the people including kids, adults, older people, male, female, etc. We are designing digital clock, so most people are use them at all the time. Major purpose to use alarm clock. The people can use clock to set up an alarm with different time zones. People use clocks to schedule alarms with different times. The people can use clock to set a timer. People can use clock to measure timing for sleep hours and working hours. The people can use clock while they are traveling from one place to another place to know timings. People can use clocks in their everyday life. Clock is useful for users to set up time for a medication in everyday regular life. Clock is useful for athletic to run out the clock is a practice of a winning team allowing the clock to expire through a series of pre-selected play. Users can set up an alert to help users to know that they need to carry the device. Here the user pain points are: user doesn't have a beautiful interface for the clock. So user have a trouble to maintain the clock as per different time zones. User have to remember all the time to carry the clock. Users having the trouble to maintain their sleep time and work time balance in their regular days. Users have to operate clocks manually and they have to set up times whenever they want to change. Users cannot carry clocks everywhere and anytime. I think we pretty much covered our target users' goals and needs. Now let's move on to the next step, that is figuring out focus areas to work or brainstorm with the design ideas. I would like to call our major points regarding to the design problem, that is the focus areas rather than the brainstorm ideas, because this is comfortable for me to work with my design process. Focus areas. Design a clock interface that users can touch and easy to use. Create a mobile application for the clock that users can use easily and they can carry every time they want to. Clock have different time zones since user can easily view and select as per their time zones. Clock has an alarm option so the users can set up an alert as per their required times. Clock has an option to calculate sleep time for users to have a nice sleep for their health. Clock has an option to calculate work time for the user to maintain and balance between work and personal life. Clock has an ability to set up a stopwatch to calculate time to help athletics. Clock might have an option to set up a time for users to help in kitchen or any working areas. My selected major areas that help me to solve our user problem. So, first, clock have an option to view different time zones as well as users can see the whole world clock time zones at one place. Clock has this feature. So many reasons behind choosing the option is when the user travels or works in different time zones, or the user has a relative in different time zones, so they can understand the different time zones and they can contact them as per desired time zones. Or the user can have a medication regularly as per their time zones and in any circumstances that travel to other time zones, if they have an option to know the time zones quickly and they can make medications as per their regular time zones. Since this is the way the world clock helps users in different ways. Clock have an option to set up an alarm clock to help them in everyday life. My reason behind selecting this option is the user has to be working up in the morning and they schedule an alarm to set up alert time in the morning, since they can wake up in the morning as per their expected time and they are manage their work for the rest of the day. Or the user can have an option to set up an alert for nighttime bed so they can have a nice sleep for their healthy health. Next, clock has an option of selecting a timer. The reason behind choosing this option is so many different users use a timer to accomplish desired tasks. For example, the students can set up a timer to read subjects and write assignments. The users use a timer in the kitchen so they can set up timer to cook or bake food. Also, the users can use a timer to work time management. Clock has a nice interface. So whenever the user interacts with any product, they also love the product looks. Since in this point of view, we have to think about the product interface, not only looks of the product, also we have to think about the accessibility of the product, that the user can easy to access to accomplish the desired task and they can use clock without getting frustrated and love to use. In this point of view, we have to think about both looks and accessibility. clock has an option for users to handy and carry it anywhere and anytime. The clock has a nice option for the mobile application since they can carry it easily and handy. Nowadays, people have a smartphone in their daily life. Since the clock has in the form of mobile application, it is very useful for the users. The list of ideas or focus areas that I did not select for user problem of creating alarm. Clock have sleep or work calculated options so the user can maintain the balance between the sleep and work and personal life balance. So I am not focusing on this option as a major consideration for creating a digital clock because of the very huge tasks contained in the clock application. So this looks out of a scope for the design challenge. As per my perspective, if we select this option as a clock, we have to consider the sleep setting times for the users and their work settings time for the users, since there are different tasks rather than the clock. Since we are not considering this option as a major point for the digital clock. The another option is clock doesn't have a stopwatch option. A stopwatch is used to measure the time interval of an event. It is a kind of watch that stands out for the accuracy and precision with which it can measure the time of an event. It works by pressing a start button and then stopping it. Since most of the time this stopwatch is useful for the athletics or other sport related people, as per my perspective, since I am not including this option in my digital clock. So now I have almost decided my major focus areas about the design ideas and I made a decision towards the next step. Now it's time to solve our design problem. Whenever I solve any design challenge, I usually prefer to start with the storyboarding because storyboarding is the best way to understand for me about my target user personas and user scenarios, which is user tasks. Here is my list of storyboards regarding the problem. Tom has to schedule the alarm clock in the morning to wake up and get ready for the work, as well as he has to drop his kids to school. He is always struggling with his existing alarm and he is looking for a new one with interesting features. Then he found the digital clock application. Now Tom has to schedule the alarm for the next morning to wake up himself as well as the family too. Since he is looking for the alarm and schedule the alarm for next morning at 6 a.m. Also, he scheduled an alarm for the next morning at 7 a.m. for the kids to wake up and get ready for their school on the next morning when the alarm buzzes. Then he can stop it and wake up. Finally, using this application, Tom can schedule an alarm as per his required time. Tom has to travel frequently for his job purposes since he uses the clock to know the timings. But his existing clock doesn't show the timing different time zones since he has to set up and calculate the timing as per his current time zones, or he has to schedule his clock as per his current time zones. He is frustrated with his clock and he is looking for the clock that can show the different time zones at the same time, and he is able to use as per his required things. He found the application in his phone, which is handy for him to carry and easy to use. Also, if he has to travel in different time zones, he can adjust as per his required timings. Tom has a hobby to bake food at home since he is using the timer to set up a clock or a baking time at home, but existing timer doesn't carry and it has to schedule manually. Since he is frustrated with it and he is looking for the clock to schedule a timer for the cooking time. And finally, he found the clock application that helps to set the timer easily. So, this is why my target user is completing the task and using the new application, and it is very well beneficial for them. Now it's time to create a low fidelity wireframe for the digital clock. First, using user sign up and log into the clock app, user can schedule their existing time zone. User can schedule multiple alarms at one time. Users can see world clock time zones at one place. Users can set up a timer to cook food. At the end, don't forget to summarize the design problem and how we are solving it. I hope you guys enjoy my video. If you have any questions and suggestions, please comment below. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel so you will never miss any latest updated videos on design and UX. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.